Hello everybody. Today is the 5th of May and the 71st day of the war in Ukraine. I want to record this short video for you tonight. I'm Father Andriy Rak. I'm the provincial of the Redemptorists of the Lviv province in Ukraine. As you know, on February 24th, the Russian Federation began its military aggression and entered the territory of Ukraine. Today, the Russian military continues its war in eastern and southern Ukraine. Parts of our territory, particularly in northern and central Ukraine, have been liberated from Russian occupation by their military, which our people have begun to refer to as orcs because of their abusive brutality and savagery. One of our Redemptorist communities is in Chernihiv in northern Ukraine, and the community were with the people of this city during awful firefights and bombardment. I'm visiting our brothers right now here in Chernihiv. I am currently beside our church and the monastery of the missionary Redemptorist sisters. Likely these structures were not damaged, only a few scratches on the wall from shrapnel from nearby explosions. The Russian occupants have left horrible signs after retreating, ruined hospitals, schools and civilian housing. We can still see the horror and fear in the eyes of the people here. Many have lost their homes and family in this war. Despite their pain, many hope for a peaceful future through tearful eyes. One woman whose house was hit by a bomb says that now she can rebuild with a terrace.
These are the conditions that some of the people have to live in. This is what their life, day-to-day life has become. These are someone's houses. This is where their family has lived for years. This is what is left of their whole lives.
My heartfelt thanks to all our brothers from across the world and all our supporters for all your help. Thanks to you, we can help refugees, as well as those who still remain in ruined parts of our country. Our conference sometimes get the aid to those people personally. In other places, we pass on the aid through volunteers and where possible even send it by post. The Russian military continues to attack our peaceful cities. 2 days ago, once again, rockets attacked Lviv in western Ukraine as well as a few other cities. For a few days now, we have not had any contact with our conference in the east of Ukraine. The city is currently occupied. We hope to be able to get in touch soon as for their safety. We pray and ask for prayers for them and for all those living in occupied territories. Our wholehearted thanks on behalf of all our brothers and sisters and all those who we have been able to help thanks to your aid. Thank you.
Christians are approaching Easter, and questions about hope in these dark times. How do you see, if you see any, is there anything that you can point to that speaks to hope?
I do see hope. I see hope very often. If you look at the big picture, you don't see it. Because on the big picture, you start seeing statistics. You start seeing how many people have died. You start hearing of which territories are being lost every day. But I see hope in the little things. In the way some of the refugees have started sending their children to our kindergarten, and how the kids are adapting and getting along and starting to smile and laugh again. In the way the orphanage living here is time to time just saying how much they appreciate it. Or at times when I'm busy, one of them might come up and go, "We haven't seen you in a long time. When are we going to get to do something together again?" And these little moments of just seeing children have their childhood again, that gives me a lot of hope. These little moments of seeing people helping. Again, I mentioned all the volunteers doing different things, of the nets, of making power bars. They cook, homemade power bars to cut up and to give to the soldiers, to sort through all the humanitarian aid we're getting so we can send it to the front faster. And seeing like members of our youth group who will come in and say, because all education is online right now, they can't actually go to classes, so they're doing online education, and saying, our teachers told us we have 2 classes off, so we got an hour and a half. Is there anything we live nearby? Is there any way we can help? Tell us where to go, what to do. Just coming in these tiny breaks they have during their days and looking to help weave those nets or bake those power bars, just so they could do something to help someone. That gives me so much hope for a better future.
Well, I think that leads into my question about family. So the family unit, the disruption between men going to the front, women staying back with children and rearing. But even there, that can be sketchy if there's people injured or dead. It leaves roles sort of changing. The average child or teenager isn't usually accustomed. And how are they adapting to that? And speak a bit maybe to that resilience, if you know any examples.
I think that one of the best examples was that orphanage that is staying with us. As soon as they arrived, the youngest children, and there were very young children with them. There was one child that was, I believe, 3 months old, and they were from Kharkiv, a city which has been bombed and destroyed, and they had been en route to us for over 4 days. And here these children finally arrive at our monastery. The little children are taken up to the kindergarten, to rooms which we had prepared as best we could. And the oldest kids among them go look at the younger kids, go make sure our stuff gets to some sort of room, and they run off to be with the little kids to make sure that they're adapting all right, to make sure to help calm them down in this new place. So even in this orphanage, the older kids, their first concern was to make sure that those youngest children were all right.
Can you talk a little bit more about how different communities, different places support your work and try to participate? Like, what do you suggest?
There has been a great outpour of support, especially from the Redemptorists from different provinces. Our community at St. Joseph's was always a very active community, even though we only have 4 active priests, 2 retired priests, and 1 brother. We had a kindergarten, a cafe, a retreat house, multiple programs, a bakery, and this time of war, we have continued to use the bakery to provide food for the locals, as well as we bake over 200 loaves of bread every 3 days for the shelters with refugees in the city. The retreat house has been converted into shelter for refugees. The church basement has become a shelter. A lot of we have a Faith and Light, which is special needs children we work with. Currently, we don't have a program with them, so we have converted their workshop into nets that our parishioners are using their free time to make for camouflage to send to the front. We are sewing med kits for our soldiers. So there's a lot of work being done, but of course we do need support. Those same med kits, we need medicines to put in them. We can sew the med kit, we can get certain medicines here, but a lot of medicines has run out, and without Western supply, we can't really get it very often.
Хрещається Небо Боже Анастасія, в ім'я Отця і Сина, і Святого Духа. Амінь.
Ми приїхали справді, щоб торкнутися ран міста Чернігова. Це місто герой. Під час цієї війни, те оточення тактичне, про яке ми читали, ми так молилися за всіх вас. А сьогодні маю нагоду особисто приїхати, щоб вам засвідчити нашу повагу, підтримку нашої церкви. Всі наші священники, монахи тут лишилися.
Ми хотіли вас бачити на півдні, а побачили на півночі.
Я мав їхати на
Ви певно зачекалися вже нас.
Ну так же ж цілий день на вас, так що
Що нас все провести до губернатора.
все добре, все добре.
Нарешті до вас приїхати, вас всіх розблокували, врятували. Знаєте, що
щоб ви мали якусь нову надію на краще. Я перепрошую, ми до вас трошки, знаєте, запізнилися, бо ми перше приїхали згідно тих всіх наших маршрутів до губернатора, голови військової адміністрації, щоб послухати, справді, як сьогодні живе Чернігів. Так що дякую, що дочекалися.
Дякую, що приїхали.
Це таке, знаєте, дивне Боже провидіння. Ми так з вас молилися, як ви знали. Був такий час, що ми не могли додзвонитися, ми так дуже економно використовували батареї. То я тут попадав таку трему. Що ж там з нашим Черніговим, знаєте. Я дуже гордий з того, що всі лишилися. Ніхто нікуди не евакуювався. Іншим допомагали евакуюватися, а самі були на своєму духовному, бойовому посту. Батьки не дочекалися, що можна було мені до вас завітати в гості. Часто мене так питаються, а ви там в Україні маєте надію? На що ж ви надієтеся? Я кажу, певне, що маємо надію, бо ми є християни, ми віримо у Воскресіння. Так що нехай та християнська надія тримає наш український Чернігів. Вас благодаті і чоловіколюбні завжди, нині і повсякчас, на віки вічні. Амінь.
Від бомби діпасової. Це такі ями робляться. 500 кілограмів.
This neighborhood across from the school was bombed by airplanes. They did bombing runs and then returned, and on the second run just opened fire on houses, shooting from machine guns. This is the local school. There were people taking shelter in the basement during the attack. Over 13 died. Most were presumed dead, but couldn't be officially told as dead to their families until a few weeks later, when they finally started digging up all the bodies. Remainders of school books. Bottles from chemistry lab. This is all that remains of a once active, vibrant school. Their school, much as their hopes, unfortunately reduced to rubble in a matter of hours. This small basement space may not look like much, but during the height of the bombing in Chernihiv, 58 people would gather in this basement and the room next door with the furnace to seek shelter during the worst of the bombs. Father Roman Chalus, a Ukrainian Redemptorist here with us, who is the superior of this house, the head of this monastery, and who stayed with these people through the worst of the attacks on Chernihiv by Russia.
I want to say thank you from me and from all of us who lived here, who prayed for us, who supported us and who didn't forgive us here in Ukraine.